Good, that's Concora. I too am delighted to be able to speak today and welcome the opportunity, as I said, speak on this financial provisions COVID-19. I welcome many of the measures within the July stimulus package, but unfortunately, it quite simply does not go far enough in many areas, and it has all the hallmarks of a departmental document without the understanding of what makes people in rural Ireland and all over Ireland as well actually tick. The stay and spend incentives, the purpose of which is to incentivise the taxpayers to support registered providers of accommodation and food during the off-peak season, thus providing support for an industry that has been devastated by COVID-19. While certainly well intentioned, I have concerns. From an industry point of view, while any increase in consumer demands is welcome, the scheme is likely to bring about a huge increase in administration, and the self-employed people are just weary and overburdened from administration, and they probably have had a break with the COVID from administration, but they hadn't a break from anything else. And the problem is of split receipts, etc., so that everyone can claim their own portion of the total bill. At a time when there is already reduced capacity and increased, cleaning and hygiene requirements, many in the industry have warned about this, and this is a nonsensical kind of a setup. There are also huge disappointments that the government decided not to reduce the VAT rate further. I mean, it's minuscule, and the VAT is a simple way of allowing people to spend, because it's added that value-added tax as it is, and it was a missed opportunity. From a consumer point of view, Kate Lutchie, I think it's the first time I've addressed the Minister, so I want to wish him very well in this role, and I thought Dr. McGrath was there, Minister McGrath, but I want to wish you well in your continuing role, Minister. But I will be forthright and object when I see things are just quite simply, you don't get it. Just don't get it. You don't get what makes people tick, what allows people, and the bureaucracy. From a consumer point of view, while the Spend and Stay initiative is again well intentioned to promote business in the off-peak season, the exclusion of pensioners who cannot benefit from this initiative is very disappointing. Because we all know in recent years the many the associations, active retirement especially, they take trips to Killarney, take trips to many hotels, and they're a wonderful organisation for people that are retired. Should have been looked after, and that should have been seen. They go. There's a huge spend in it. They come to Dublin for days. They go for weekends to Killarney to country music, and I'll come to the country music in a minute, and they love it. But they haven't been engaged either, and they have been victimised right throughout this, the over 66s, because many are working in jobs, they can't claim any payments because they just get their pension. And if we hadn't had to top up even between the pension and the pup payment, that's all they wanted. They would have been recognised for the way they built this country, the way they raised their families, they paid their taxes and paid their salaries. Some of them were working for 40 years. And maybe even more, and they should have got something. The music and entertainment, I discussed it last night. Look, an abject failure, and the social welfare provisions didn't deal with it at all. They're of our being. They are our people. They are part of our heritage, our duties, and indeed our culture. They're adored and admired. But above all, again, they are self-made people. They took the opportunity, many of them in jobs maybe at different times, and went out and go alone and do it themselves, set themselves up. First of all, had their profession and had the trade and the skill set, which is very important. Then they had to become self-employed, get their van, get their equipment, very costly equipment, and increase and enhance. And some of them went in the bigger bands then, and they had a whole entourage then of offset people, of sound engineers, of every kind of setup costs and everything else. They have been just wiped out. And they're kind of been told then by social welfare to get other work elsewhere. And we're going to wipe away that part of our culture, and our industry that's loved by people, by the ordinary people, the over 66s, and many of all ages, from the cradle to the grave. It's an awful situation they've been left in. As I said, they're being discriminated in the pub payment too. And you're going to have to do something there, Minister, because we're going to lose a whole part of our culture. Gone, like snow off a ditch. Cad a mit festa gan aimid. Cad a mit festa gan aran agus shunner gan fiddle and ruddy mar sin. Agus Connor, it's more than true. It's an awful pity, and you can't seem to get it. But you don't understand government, and the permanent government don't understand what makes people tick, how they want to live. An example of the music and entertainment sector, works is that the sector have been placed on a reduced rate of 200p per week as well. So that's not your area, but it's in your area when you hold the purse strings. The pubs, Cahill. It's a joke. If you have a sandwich in this hand, or €9 meal, you can get into a pub. The sandwich is supposed to prevent the COVID infection. It's a total farce. And the pubs have been blackguarded. Again, they're pensioners in those ranks, many of them, I know dozens of them, that are over 66 and older, and because they couldn't get a payment. They were shut down by yourselves. And worse than that, they were told they'd be reopened last Monday week, and they weren't allowed. And the time length for the decision was too short and untimely, too short. Didn't get enough leading notice. They had to pay for their stocks and everything else. They've been dealt a huge body blow, and it's just ridiculous. The employment wage subsidy as well, Minister, the whole area of the taxation and claiming back. I welcome some of the issues that where you can claim back tax, and where the tax from this year you'll be right up against last year's tax. I welcome that. But again, they pay away worker, and I support them as well. They had a choice of opting for 19 income or 2020. The self-employed didn't. They had to go on 19, or they could go on 18 to pay away, and there should be a fair balance for everybody. That's the way it should be. But no, a missed opportunity, the stimulus package, a missed opportunity, and our businesses are floundering. Our tourism industry, hospitality industry are floundering, and we've issues in like Cahir Castle I raised today, and the fabulous Swiss cottage in Cahir, and they're locked up, OPW site, locked. Surely we could let the people into this environs and into the courtyards of our splendid castle. There are hundreds of people in Cahir town last Sunday and Saturday and every other Sunday. Come, it's a beautiful town, and the hotels and the shops, and you want that footfall to stay. You see the gates down to and locked and padlocks on them. The staff must be protected and be safe, yes, but I'm talking about the courtyards, the open areas that are there, and the environs of those two buildings. They must be open. It's not fair to have them open at other sites in our own county, Rockall Castle and elsewhere, and not in Cahir. It's discrimination and it's not fair. Yes, Tommy Creek now, Gurmaha Gotam.